Hi, everybody. I was busy ordering lunch for the AV Geek staff and promptly lost track of time. Anyways, we watch old 16 millimeter films with the AV Geeks lunch, and I was gonna show like a silent film, but I wasn't feeling it. So we're just gonna jump into things. I'm gonna show a film that might just get us the copyright hammer. We'll see. I'm hoping that we'll do okay. This is King Rollo and the Balloons. Enjoy.
King Rollo was looking in his drawer. He found a packet with 3 balloons. "Help me blow up a balloon," he asked Cook. "Not now," said Cook. "I have to make a cup of tea." "Help me blow up a balloon," he asked the magician. "Not now," said the magician. "I have to make a cup of tea vanish." King Rollo tried to blow up a balloon. It was very hard, but he kept on trying, and at last he did it. It was a bumpy green balloon. Just when King Rollo had the balloon blown up, he let it go. The balloon flew all over the room. King Rollo liked that, and he did it again. This time, the balloon flew out of the window. King Rollo blew up the round blue balloon. Then he pulled squealed as the air escaped. King Rollo blew up the round blue balloon again. And tied it up. Then he blew up the last balloon, the long yellow one. In the kitchen, the magician made a piece of pie vanish. wondered if he could make a cake disappear. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. Cook and the magician rushed to King Rollo. "What was that bang?" the magician asked. "Oh, I was just practicing some magic," said King Rollo. "Magic? What magic?" asked the magician. "I can make a balloon vanish," said King Rollo.
What's King Rollo's deal? Is he like a man-child with a beard? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. So many. It brought up more questions than it did answers, honestly. And that perfect opportunity where they're talking about releasing the air, that's where that fart sound was supposed to appear, but it didn't. Let's watch another film distributed by Perspective Films, and this is a animated film, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and it is not nearly as good as the original Goldilocks and the Three Bears, which features a young girl and live bears. This is all right, but not as good. And if you want to see the original one, if you haven't seen it, let's take a poll in the comments and let me know if you want to see it. Maybe I'll show it if I can find it. All right, here's the second edition of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, revised for 80s sensibility.
Once upon a time, there were 3 bears who lived together in a little house in the woods. One of them was a wee little bear, and one was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great big bear. They each had a bowl for their porridge, a wee little bowl for the wee little bear, and a middle-sized bowl for the middle-sized bear, and a great big bowl for the great big bear. And they each had a chair to sit in. A wee little chair for the wee little bear, and a middle-sized chair for the middle-sized bear, and a great big chair for the great big bear. and they each had a bed to sleep in. A wee little bed for the wee little bear, and a middle-sized bed for the middle-sized bear, and a great big bed for the great big bear. Because they were polite, well-brought-up bears, they decided to take a walk in the woods while their porridge was cooling, so they would not burn their mouths. For you see, these were nice bears. A little rough as bears are, but very good-natured. Now there was a little girl named Goldilocks who lived on the other side of the woods. She had been sent on an errand by her mother. When she found the little house, she looked in at the window. And she peeped through the keyhole, for she was not at all a well-brought-up little girl. Then, seeing nobody in the house, she lifted the latch and found the door unlocked, for the bears had never done anyone harm and never suspected anyone would harm them. So Goldilocks went in, and well pleased was she when she saw the porridge on the table. If she had been a thoughtful little girl, she would have waited for the bears to come home, and then perhaps they would have asked her to breakfast, for they were very polite bears. But she was a rude little girl, and so she set about helping herself. First, she tasted the porridge of the great big bear, but that was too hot for her. Next, she tasted the porridge of the middle-sized bear, but that was too cold for her. And then she tasted the porridge of the wee little bear, and that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. So she ate it all up, every bit. Then Goldilocks felt tired, so she sat down in the chair of the great big bear. But that was too hard for her. So she sat down in the chair of the middle-sized bear. But that was too soft for her. But the chair of the wee little bear was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So she seated herself, and there she sat, until it broke to pieces, and down she came plump upon the ground. Now that made her very cross, for, as I have been telling you, she was a bad-tempered little girl. Then Goldilocks went into the bedchamber. First, she lay down upon the bed of the great big bear, but that was too high at the head. Next, she lay down upon the bed of the middle-sized bear, and that was too high at the foot. And then she lay down upon the bed of the wee little bear, and that was just right. So there she lay until she fell fast asleep. By this time, the three bears thought their porridge must have cooled. So they came home to breakfast. Now, careless Goldilocks had left the spoon of the great big bear standing in his porridge.
Somebody's been eating my porridge!
And the middle-sized bear saw the spoon was standing in her porridge, too. Somebody has been eating my porridge. Then the wee little bear said,
Somebody's been eating my porridge and it's eating it all up.
Now the careless Goldilocks had not put the cushion straight on the chair of the great big bear.
Somebody has been sitting in my chair!
And the careless Goldilocks had squatted down the cushions on the chair of the middle-sized bear. Somebody has been sitting in my chair. And you know what Goldilocks had done to the wee little chair.
Somebody's been sitting in my chair and has sat the bottom out of it.
Then the three bears went to their bedchamber.
Somebody has been lying in my bed!
Now Goldilocks heard in her sleep the great, rough voice of the great big bear. But it was no more to her than the rumbling of thunder. Somebody has been lying in my bed. And she heard the middle-sized voice of the middle-sized bear. But it was no more to her than the roaring of the wind. Bed. But when she heard the wee little voice of the wee little bear,
Somebody's been lying in my bed and here she is still.
it awakened her at once. When Goldilocks saw the three bears on one side of the bed, she tumbled herself out at the other and scrambled out the window. Away she ran as fast as she could and never looked behind her. And what happened afterwards, I cannot tell. But the three bears never saw anything more of Goldilocks.
I'm gonna fix that chair. The end.
On a hot summer day, it's fun to go out in the woods or in the park. You can take along crayons and a pad of drawing paper. And you can take along a book of your favorite stories. One story that has long been a favorite is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears: a big papa bear, a middle-sized mama bear, and a wee little baby bear. They all lived together in a little bear house in the forest. A little bear house in the forest. Now, what would it look like? There's a little house. Let's pretend. Now we have a pretty little house in the forest, a house for the 3 bears. Inside the house, there were 3 chairs. A big chair for the Papa Bear, a middle-sized chair for the Mama Bear, and a wee little chair for the Baby Bear. In the bedroom, there were 3 beds. A big bed for the Papa Bear, a middle-sized bed for the Mama Bear, and a wee little bed for the Baby Bear. And, of course, there were the 3 bears. The big Papa Bear was reading his morning newspaper. The middle-sized Mama Bear was cooking breakfast. And the wee little Baby Bear decided to play with his toys until breakfast was ready. That morning, Mama Bear had cooked porridge for breakfast, and she had set it out on the table in 3 bowls. A big bowl for Papa Bear, a middle-sized bowl for Mama Bear, and a wee little bowl for Baby Bear. When Mama Bear tasted the porridge, she found it was too hot to eat. So Papa Bear decided they should all go for a walk in the forest while they were waiting for the porridge to cool. That same morning, a little girl named Goldilocks was walking through the woods. Now, Goldilocks lived near the woods, and she often went for walks near her home. This morning, though, she had walked farther into the woods than she had ever gone before. She had always known that bears lived in the forest, and now she had found their house. She wasn't sure just how to behave, but she knew it would be polite to knock on the door. There was no answer, but the door was open, so Goldilocks tiptoed in. It was so exciting that she promptly forgot that she had not been invited in and should not have been there at all. Then she saw the chairs. The big chair of the Papa Bear, the middle-sized chair of the Mama Bear, and the wee little chair of the Baby Bear. Goldilocks was tired from her long walk, so she decided to sit down. She sat in the big chair, but it was too hard. She sat in the middle-sized chair, but it was too soft. She sat in the wee little chair. It was just right, until... She was truly sorry she had broken the chair, but just then she saw the porridge the bears had left to cool. Goldilocks was hungry from her long walk, so she decided to eat. She tasted the porridge in the big bowl, but it was too hot. She tasted the porridge in the middle-sized bowl, but it was too cold. She tasted the porridge in the wee little bowl. It was just right. In fact, it was so good that she ate it all up. Goldilocks was sleepy from her long walk, and she wondered where she could lie down. Then she saw the bedroom. She tried lying down on the big bed, but it was too hard. It was also too high. She tried lying down on the middle-sized bed, but it was too soft. She tried lying down on the wee little bed. It was just like her cozy bed at home, and so she went to sleep. Meanwhile, out in the forest, Baby Bear was up in a tree playing hide and seek. Papa Bear was playing too. Then Baby tried out some tricks he had learned. Mama and Papa were quite proud, especially when Baby walked on his front legs. Somersaults were one of Baby's favorite stunts. Papa Bear could do backward somersaults. Baby watched closely to see how Papa did it. Then Baby did it too. And so the bears passed the time while waiting for their porridge to cool. Goldilocks was still sound asleep when the bears came back home. Big Papa Bear, middle-sized Mama Bear, and wee little Baby Bear. As soon as they were inside the house, the bears knew that someone had been there. Papa Bear said in his big voice, "Someone has been sitting in my chair." Mama Bear said in her middle-sized voice, "Someone has been sitting in my chair." Baby Bear said in his wee little voice, "Someone has been sitting in my chair, and it's broken." Then Papa Bear said in his big voice, "Someone has been eating my porridge." Mama Bear said in her middle-sized voice, "Someone has been eating my porridge." Baby Bear said in his wee little voice, "Someone has been eating my porridge, and it's all gone." Then Papa Bear decided to look in the bedroom. He said in his big voice, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed." Mama Bear said in her middle-sized voice, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed." And Baby Bear, when he looked in the bedroom, he said in his wee little voice, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed, and here she is." With that, Goldilocks woke up. She thought the Baby Bear was so cute that she would have liked to take him home for a pet. But then she saw Mama and Papa Bear. She was so surprised that she jumped out the window and ran all the way home. And she never again went so far into the woods. So she never again saw the little bear house in the forest. And no one else has ever seen it either, except when they were pretending. Of course, you can draw a picture of the house, and you can have your house look just the way you want it to look. Then you can tell the story of what happened in your little bear house in the forest.
I can check that gear in a minute, so don't touch anything, okay? Hey! Get down from there! Now! Hey! Turn it over!
What if it bumped that control by accident? You'd be mincemeat by now. What have I told you? You don't work on equipment when the engine's running.
Well, I told him not to touch anything. All right, I guess I wasn't thinking.
You weren't thinking? You mean you'll work on engines and machinery and not think of your own personal safety? Here. Shake hands with danger.
Shake hands with danger. Meet a man you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety. Now they call me Three-Fingered Joe. I was young and feisty, never did things by the book. Just let me get my toolbox and I'll take myself a look. I climbed up on a dozier with my mechanic's pride. Said, you can keep it running, friend, while I poke around inside. Shake hands with danger, meet a guy you ought to know. I used to laugh at safety, now they call me Three-Fingered Joe. Although I learned a lesson, I forgot it soon enough. The nicks and burns and scratches showed the young ones I was tough. Till another morning I was grinding on some steel. My other hand got careless and fed my skin into the wheel. Shake hands with danger, step right up and say hello. Grinding wheels and metal are what made me Three-Fingered Joe. I've seen mechanics burning and I've seen them take a fall just to save themselves a minute. I've seen them lose it all. I've watched them courting trouble, seen them take a chance and lose. They get careless for a moment and spend a lifetime with the blues. Shake hands with some friends I used to know. Compared to them, I'm lucky to be just Three-Fingered Joe.
Alright, so that was an extended remix. Two versions of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. The one that was made, I believe, in the 70s, which had a very delinquent, misbehaving Goldilocks. And then the original, which came out in the 50s, which featured a girl with live bears, and the bad behavior, I think, was actually behind the camera. Like, and I'm sure that at some point somebody complained. There were probably complaints saying, like, you know what, we do not want to encourage kids to go up to bears. This is creating a false idea of how humans and bears interact, and so we need something that's different. And so that's probably why that animated film was created. And then I felt like, yeah, we showed some bad behavior with safety. Let's go ahead and show our little safety anthem. All right, next film we got for you is Civil Defense in Schools. And this is kind of, a counterpoint to Duck and Cover. This is like, Duck and Cover's made for kids and for a little bit for adults on what to do in case of atomic attack, how to behave, how to protect yourself from burns and debris. Of course, knowing that the fact that if you're within a certain radius of the blast zone, it doesn't matter what you do. But they knew that there's a wider radius where if you protect yourself, you might not get burnt, or you might not get smashed by glass. So this is made for school administrators and school boards, and to talk about, well, what can we offer up in a school for civil defense. So there's no turtles in this one. Enjoy.
The threat of disaster is never pleasant. For a long time, schools have been improving ways of protecting children from the kinds of disasters and accidents we have come to expect. These safety measures are essential. Today, however, we are threatened with a new form and magnitude of disaster. For this is the age of the atom. So long as we are confronted with this unprecedented threat, protection of our children must be a basic goal of every educational program. We can achieve this goal only by undertaking a comprehensive civil defense program in all of our schools. Protection from nuclear attack is possible. Local conditions will dictate the courses of action. There is a general concept for every school system to follow in developing a civil defense program. First of all, the general objectives and main features of the plan must be carefully worked out by the superintendent for presentation to the school board.
We presented this program to you a week ago at your meeting, and I need hardly tell you that this proposal to expand our school protection program was worked out with the close cooperation of Mr. Miller, our city civil defense director. The program consists of two main parts: protection to take care of our immediate survival needs, and a curriculum program to include civil defense in our courses of study. Before I describe in detail...
In this meeting, the school superintendent is seeking the board's approval of the general proposal. Before he can proceed with a more detailed plan, the board must endorse the proposal and authorize funds for development and implementation of the plan.
Thank you, Mr. Douglas. The board has already studied the outline of this proposal that you gave us last week. Those in favor of proceeding with a more detailed plan? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And now I think we should review...
A few days later, the superintendent meets with his staff and all principals to explain the new directive and to make specific assignments for detailed planning. The curriculum coordinator heads the curriculum committee. The safety supervisor is appointed chairman of the protection committee. The school architect engineer is made chairman of the fallout shelter committee. Many others, such as the chief school nurse and the head building custodian, are assigned responsible positions. Everyone on the staff has an important role. The Civil Defense Director is present to explain how the schools fit into the total community survival plan. Principals are charged with full responsibility for developing and executing both the protection and curriculum programs in their own schools, programs which will conform with those established for the entire system. Before calling a meeting of the entire staff, principals in turn discuss the program with some of their key people. The school's safety supervisor is appointed as the civil defense coordinator, and teachers serving on the curriculum committee are told to prepare for special meetings to find ways of building civil defense into the courses of study. One of the first steps in developing the protection program is to decide on the best and most economical ways of providing shelter from radioactive fallout. With the aid of the local civil defense director, the school superintendent and his architect engineer make detailed plans for including dual-purpose fallout shelters in all new school construction. Plans are approved, funds obligated, and the real work gets underway. When this shelter is completed, it will also serve as the school cafeteria. Existing school buildings throughout the system are surveyed to determine what areas within them are best adapted for shelter use or for ready conversion to shelters. This area, for instance, was formerly used for coal storage, but now it serves as both fallout shelter and workroom for school theatrical productions. This school needed more classroom space, but to add it above ground would have taken away valuable playground area. The problem was solved by building dual-purpose shelter classrooms underground according to specifications furnished by the Office of Civil and Defense Mobilization. Alternate plans for evacuating the schools in target areas are also developed. If there is enough advanced warning of an attack, civil defense plans in many target cities call for sending children home from school. Some target cities, such as this one, if there is adequate warning time, plan a general evacuation to safer areas. With the help of the local civil defense director, the school superintendent makes certain that arrangements for evacuating schools in his system are coordinated with those already established for the community at large. Cooperative arrangements must also be made between school and local government officials at reception areas. Development of an adequate internal warning system for the schools also is carefully worked out to supplement existing civil defense warning facilities. This community has a good outdoor warning system with sirens covering the entire area. Everyone here knows that the alert signal, a steady blast of from 3 to 5 minutes duration, means to take action as directed by the local government. And that the take cover signal, a wailing tone or a series of short blasts of 3 minutes duration, signifying attack is imminent, means to take cover at once in the best available shelter. To supplement these outdoor signals, an indoor warning system is needed. Although there are other approved systems for instantaneous relay of warning, bell and lights are used here to alert the schools. Public address systems are installed so that emergency instructions can be given to the students and staff in the shortest possible time. Here's how the whole system works. When a warning is received by the local government through the attack warning system, sirens and bell and lights throughout the community are activated simultaneously. Every school in the system receives this signal. On receipt of the warning, the switchboard operator immediately informs the principal. Using the public address system, he gives appropriate directions to his staff and to the students. It cannot be stressed too strongly that any civil defense warning signal used in schools must be clearly distinguishable from other types of alarms. No survival plan for schools can be effective without the full cooperation of an informed staff. The importance of the role of teachers in conducting shelter drills, for instance, cannot be overemphasized. Calm efficiency of their teachers, youngsters gain confidence in arrangements made for their security. While individual schools may have different requirements, an adequate school fallout shelter should contain enough provisions to sustain students and staff for at least 2 weeks. In this combination shelter cafeteria, the cafeteria manager is in charge of emergency feeding facilities. It must be stocked with blankets for everyone assigned to the shelter. If the school is dependent on a vulnerable community water system, a special well may have to be provided for emergency water supply. Battery-powered radios with Conelrad frequencies 640 and 1240 clearly marked on the dials must be available to receive emergency information. A telephone tied in with the city's Civil Defense Control Center. First aid and medical supplies. Sanitation facilities and means for safe disposal of rubbish and wastes. radiological monitoring equipment, an emergency electric power generator, and adequate ventilation are among the special items which must be provided. Because children would need some form of recreation, an area within the shelter should be available for physical activities and play. Of course, if time would permit, they would be in their own shelters at home. While the protection program is taking shape, civil defense is introduced into the curriculum at all levels. This third grade class, for example, visits emergency facilities in the community, like the local fire station. Here they learn that the people who protect them every day are a vital part of civil defense. In this fifth grade class, children make posters on home preparedness. Gradually, an awareness develops that civil defense is as natural, as meaningful, and necessary as everyday safety rules. The conditions of survival are learned. Preparedness becomes a personal responsibility. Discussion of the effects of natural disasters leads to a realistic grasp of the consequences of a nuclear war. The objective of curriculum planning is to give each student a background in the needs and methods of civil defense so that he will be prepared for living in the nuclear age. Under the supervision of the school nurse, first aid courses are taught as a regular part of the physical education program. These young homemakers in the 10th grade are getting some first-hand tips from their cafeteria manager on ways of preparing food for large groups of people. They learn that there is a real relationship between good food and good morale. Civil defense concepts should evolve naturally from existing subject matter, as in this 12th grade class in American government.
Authority and services. And if we were ever attacked, we would need more than ever the help and leadership of our governments. Most states and many localities have already adopted this program to help us recover and to preserve our constitutional government. The first point in this continuity of government program is to establish automatic lines of succession to important positions. In a serious disaster, many officials may be unable to...
This is a sound peculiar to our time. A sound that is meaningful to this 12th grade physics class studying the effects of radioactive fallout. These radiological defense instrument kits for use in science classes have been distributed to high schools throughout the nation by the Office of Civil and Defense Mobilization. From experiences like this, young people grow in their understanding of the problems they must face, of the responsibilities they must accept as citizens of the nuclear age. If it is to be a successful program in our schools, civil defense must also be understood and practiced in our homes.
Evacuation is vitally important to everyone. We've been talking about some of the precautions schools are taking to protect our children and to help them meet the challenge of our times. But I want to stress that it's just as important that we carry this knowledge, these preparations, into the home. Let's take a look at some of the things that we as parents and as citizens are obligated to know. Warning signals and what they mean. Your community plan for emergency action. Protection from radioactive fallout through shelter. First aid and home emergency preparedness. Use of Conrad 640 or 1240 on your AM radio for official directions. And these are some of the things that we must do. Prepare a family fallout shelter and equip it with 2 weeks' supply of food and water, a first aid kit, and a battery-operated radio. Since we are in a target area, prepare an evacuation kit for your automobile. Include a supply of food and water, a first aid kit, a battery radio, and blankets. First, let's talk about the family fallout shelter. This is a model of one of the types of family shelters recommended by the Office of Civil and Defense Mobilization. It is best suited...
The protection of our families at home and in schools is basic to the success of any community or national survival program. For the sake of clarity, let's review some of the steps in preparing a school civil defense program. After outlining a general plan with the help of the local civil defense authority, the superintendent makes his proposal to the school board. With the board's approval, he calls a meeting of his staff and principals to explain the new policy. Starting with the emergency plan, a shelter program is developed under the supervision of the architect-engineer who works with the civil defense director. If evacuation is called for in the community survival plan, school procedures are designed to conform with it. The entire school system is provided with a reliable warning system. Individual schools carry out their directives and refine their programs through regular drills and exercises. Following committee recommendations, the curriculum is modified to incorporate civil defense and survival techniques into the existing courses of study. And home preparedness is stressed as a necessary extension of the school survival program. Approaches to the development of school civil defense programs will necessarily vary according to local conditions. But if these guidelines are followed, while working closely with local civil defense officials, schools will be better prepared to meet any disaster. A nuclear war may never come, especially if we are prepared. But we cannot ignore the threat. The stakes are too high.
down quite a path today. I've been wanting to show that film, but it's always like, oh, it's 22 minutes, so I don't know if I can fit it. But the vibe of it is really phenomenal. So thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. You can also donate via the super thanks or super chat or whatever, the super stickers in YouTube chat. But also you can donate via ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. And we will spend that money on coffee or shelving or storage unit rent. We are doing a big push to get everything on shelves out of a nasty basement so that we can renovate that basement and make it not so nasty. So, anyhow, thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Some of you I might see tonight at the Science Museum. Some of you I might see tomorrow. But at the very least, I will see you on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.